Hey everyone, you're listening to the official podcast of 4playernetwork.com. Check us out at that address for everything you need to know about our community, monthly giveaways, and nightly live streams. You can even support us on Patreon at patreon.com/4player. And last but not least, you can catch the live recordings of these podcasts every single Thursday night on our Twitch channel. We hope to see you there. Enjoy. Welcome back to the show, everybody. We got 2 more segments left. We got about 10 to 12 categories left to cover, so let's get right into it. Our first category of this segment is going to be Best Ensemble Cast. I think that speaks for itself, so Brad, take us away.
My runner-up for Ensemble Cast, Best Ensemble Cast, is Guardians of the Galaxy. Man, that is a team.
A winner.
You feel that team, and the dialogue is great. The conversations are great. It's so good. Other people will talk about it, or I guess y'all would talk about it here. Who else has it?
It's my winner.
It's my runner-up.
It's my runner-up.
Yeah,
Damn,
I mean,
it's great.
can't get away.
Should I play this game, guys?
Yes, you should.
That's a joke. Brad actually recently very, very much told me I need to play it, and I'm going to.
It feels like a Mass Effect game, honestly, in terms of the team, sense of camaraderie amongst you and your teammates. It's really good. Great writing. Probably
And
the best acting of the year,
cast, too.
honestly. Supporting cast. We'll get to them in best characters.
My God.
But my winner is for best ensemble cast is the great Ace Attorney Chronicles. If you've ever played an Ace Attorney game, specifically multiple Ace Attorney games, you know that like that cast and the supporting cast and everyone together like makes for really great, funny, and cool moments. The way characters from previous cases like show back up in the story in cool ways is so great, especially in this one where I think it's the first game in the series that has like a jury and there's characters on the jury. And when you see characters from previous cases show up as juror members in later cases, which is so absurd, it's just so fucking funny. It's such a great cast, and it together is what makes that series special, and it's so good.
This one's been on my radar for a bit, but I haven't gotten around to it. In similar in Ace Attorney games in the past, you've been able to yell like objection or hold it. Can when you see a previous person from a trial before now as a juror, can you be like mistrial? Is that some bullshit?
No, but you do make comments like this is bullshit. Yeah, especially when you're accusing them as being like a killer in a previous trial.
Oh,
and now they're a juror.
Yikes. Something's wrong here. You shouldn't be here. All right, my like I said, my winner is Guardians of the Galaxy, but my runner-up I think is going to be Life is Strange: True Colors. I liked most of the characters in this game. Like I said earlier, it's a very cozy game, and I was really attached to a lot of the characters. I'm going to be honest, I don't remember all of their names right now because it's been a while since I played it. But I really liked Alex,
you
the
really
main
like
character.
Jed?
I did like Jed. And what's oh my God, what is
Abe,
her name?
the brother?
Yeah, but like
Steph, your girlfriend?
Steph. Thank you, Steph. I loved Alex and Steph's
Ryan the Ranger
relationship. Yeah, dude, that like it's just
it's a great cast.
Yeah.
Great cast. But yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy, man. Come on. Like I like the movie Guardians of the Galaxy, but man,
these are my Guardians now. Fuck those
this
guys.
cast is so good. Yeah. All right, Nolan, what's your runner-up?
Alrighty, my runner-up for best ensemble cast is me and my friends playing Valheim. It's one of those things where that game becomes so much bigger than what you think it is, and it's unlike a multiplayer like a Call of Duty or a Final Fantasy 14. No offense to that game, it's fantastic. In Valheim, you really are sitting down and making a plan of how you want to build things out, and hey, I'm going to go do this and it can benefit everyone, or I'm going to go do this that kind of only benefits myself. Kind of doing things that you can build a house, sure, that's kind of for me, but also I can build like a pen to keep a bunch of pigs, and I can grow a bunch of crops and things that actually are going to benefit everyone, and not to spend too long on it, but that's one of those things where just kind of looking back on the time I spent with that game and playing with other people, it was one of some of my favorite moments. But then my actual winner for best ensemble cast is going to go to Psychonauts 2. These are not necessarily new to an extent characters, because a lot of them are returning. But the new characters that you do meet and the way everyone interacts with each other is so much fun.
Yeah.
Dude, meeting his extended family,
I know. Yeah.
it's so good, man. It's
it
so
is very
good.
good.
It is really good. It's an
Um,
honorable mention.
oh, dude, yeah, it's a fantastic game. So that's mine.
Absolutely. All right. Let's see. Where do we go from here? Crispy. We know Guardians was your runner-up. What's your winner?
That was my runner-up. My winner for best ensemble cast goes to Final Fantasy 14 Endwalker. I would fucking die for any of those Scions of the Seventh Dawn. Oh, those are my people. Those are my crew.
This is how I know the story gets
To the
so much
end of the
better,
universe.
because where I'm in the story, like all of them can go fuck themselves.
Yeah.
They're all
Yeah.
in
No, dude, you. Oh my god.
I know.
Ah!
I know. We'll all get there someday, Crispy.
I mean, it's just like, you're right, because like I'm thinking about where you are, and I'm thinking about like meeting Alphino for the first time, but like, who's this little fucking punk? Who's this little punk bitch? It's like that Pro ZD sketch where he's like talking about like, oh, this dude's my favorite character in this anime, but like your friends only watch like the first episode. He's like, I'm pooping my pants. I'm pooping and peeing my pants, and he's like, no, trust me, he gets way cooler.
That's a good one too. I love that.
That was such a good, like, oh my god.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Ed, what's your runner-up?
My runner-up for best ensemble cast is Forgotten City. For a lot of the reasons we've already talked about, there's a lot of great characters there, a lot of very diverse characters, in the sense of like their responsibilities in the city, and then like how they react to different things, and their religion associations and stuff like that. It's a really cool group of people, and the voice acting is very good in the game too. I think, yeah.
Absolutely.
And then my winner is the bosses of Deathloop.
Yes.
Or what are they called? I forget the name for what they're called.
The Visionaries.
The Visionaries, yeah. So like they very we've talked about like the guy who makes a LARPing thing. We didn't talk about the person that throws the party, or the scientist lady, or the person who brought everyone there.
I don't remember any of their names, but
I don't remember.
them.
Alexis was the guy who threw the party. I remember him because I had a number of great interactions with that guy.
You mean the scientist ladies?
Yeah, true. Wenji, right? That was her name. Yeah.
Wenji, yeah.
Yeah. So between those two games, I mean, I think a very great ensemble cast.
You know, like Deathloop. You know, everybody else in our fucking community was like, "Stay away! It sucks. Stay away!" And now all of y'all fucking like Deathloop.
Dude, let me tell you, spoiler alert. I've mentioned Deathloop several times, and I agree with most people here about everything we've said about Deathloop tonight. It is not on my top 10.
I know.
I will say, Brad. I will say, depending on how much you've played of Deathloop, because when I first started this game, I hated it. I wasn't having a fun time. I wanted to put it down immediately, but everyone said, "Keep going." And there was a point when it kind of clicked what was going on. That's when I started enjoying it. But like the first, honestly, several hours of that game, I was not having a good time.
It's just funny because everyone was telling you to keep going, and everyone was telling me to stop. Don't bother.
It's kind of like how Brad was telling everybody to buy chicory, but not me.
Shut up, Nick. Stop taking it personally. You like death metal and shit. Leave me alone.
Oh my god. I also listen to Taylor Swift, man. Calm down.
It's not for Taylor Swift fans either.
Fair enough. Okay. So, best ensemble cast winners, we got Guardians of the Galaxy, Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, Psychonauts 2, Final Fantasy 14, Endwalker, Life is Strange, True Colors, and Deathloop. Man, look at that. Lots of good spreads on there. Okay, next category.
Best new character. Oh, there's so many choices. Look, I'm just going to pick two and go with it because we need to move. My runner-up for best new character of the year is motherfucking Galerius from the Forgotten City. this motherfucker, he's a real one, dude. So this is a game where I have to set this up because otherwise this character doesn't make sense. This is a game where
bro. 2
you're
sentences.
you're doing
the spoilers now, guys.
It's my winner.
Oh.
You're doing all these things, right? To like, you're trying to stop these sins from happening. You're trying to stop people from dying, from people from killing themselves, all kinds of shit, right? As you go through these loops, right? But you don't want to have to do it every fucking time, right? That's where Galerius comes in.
Yep.
He's there for you at the start of
he's
the
your
loop.
bro.
Yes.
The dialogue for him evolves, and you could just tell him, like, dude, look, just listen to me, Galerius. I know you just met me, but trust me. You go here, do this. You go there and tell this woman to stop there and there. Tell this person to go there. And he'll be like, dude, this sounds crazy. All right, I'm just going to fucking go. And he just starts running all over the city.
Part of it is that, like, he doesn't believe you. He's like, what are you talking about? And you're like, just trust me, do it. And he's like, you know what? You got it. And he just runs off.
He runs all over the city, doing all the shit that you did on previous loops for you. He's a real one. Galerius, you're a true G. My runner-up or winner, whatever you want to fucking call it.
Wait, what? That was I thought you said that was your winner.
Yeah.
Whatever, fine. My runner-up is Mantis from Guardians of the Galaxy.
That's my winner.
Such a fucking funny ass character. I mean, there's so many well-written and funny characters in that game, but when she's around, like, she has this thing where she's seen the future, but she's also seen all the futures. So everyone else in the party's like, what the fuck is going on? Like, Mantis, tell me what's gonna happen. She's like, well, this is the part where he dies in one future, but not necessarily this one. It's like this long-running bit, and it's always fucking funny. She's just such a cool character, and
I love the way she delivers it, where she's like, she'll say things like, "Is this the one where is this the one where
he drowns
horrible violent death or something like that?" And he's like, "What?" And he's like, "I don't know, we'll see." It's just shit like that the entire time. But yeah,
she never runs out her welcome throughout the entire game.
Honorable mention goes to Drax, though. His excitement for Fing Fang Foom is palpable.
Yes, dude. Oh my god. This cast is so good. Mantis is my winner. I noticed Chris Davis is not writing the names of the characters we're mentioning. He's just writing the games.
Yeah, the characters.
I only have so much room. So
right, just write like, who cares about just write
Galerius.
Oh yeah, and I totally know how to spell their names.
Just guess.
Honestly, sound it out, and I'm pretty sure you'll get it. It's exactly spelled.
Let's go.
All right, all right. So my runner-up, my winner is Mantis. I think Mantis is an absolute incredible character. Much better. I think I like her much better in this than I like her in the movie. My runner-up, I guess I'm gonna give to Rivet and Ratchet and Clank. I thought she was a really cool addition to that series, I suppose, and the way they kind of made her like kind of like an alternate dimension version of Ratchet was nice. And then like they do like this like switch where all of a sudden Clank is like going along with Rivet, and her buddy, I can't remember what his name was, is going along with Ratchet, and they're jumping back and forth between them. It was really cool, but like Rivet just ended up being a really cool character. I'll leave it at that. Mantis is the shit.
Damn it, I did one overlap. I should have picked someone else. Whatever. Go Nolan.
All right, so I'm switching. Brad convinced me that Galerius is also my runner. He's my runner-up. I'll put it that way. Just kind of bringing back those memories of interacting with him. Yeah, you're welcome. So many characters in that game are great, though. But my winner for actually best new character is going to go to the Leshy from Inscription.
Dude, wow.
For very many reasons that I wish I could get into the details of. But if we want to stick to the first act, the masks and how you fight, the angler and the prospector and stuff like that, just the way they interact with that, and the way you interact with him when you're not sitting down as well. Such a fantastic character. And
your moment with that character towards the end of that game is so good. It's so good.
Exactly. And so that's what I'm saying. I don't want to get into spoilers and stuff, but the Leshy from that game is such a good character.
Best kiss. All right, Crispy.
My runner-up for best new character. Both of my characters are from Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker.
That's fine.
The runner-up is a new character named Vena. She is a very important character to the story, and her her importance and her identity are huge spoilers, so I'm not gonna get into it. But she's really cool. My favorite new character from the year though is Living Way the Loperate, also from Final Fantasy 14.
I just saw the glazed look on Chris Davis's face.
The
like, I can't spell that.
his name is Living Way, and it's spelled exactly as it sounds. Living Way.
Is he one
Just
of those
one
bunny
word.
characters?
Yes, he's one of the
Yeah,
bunnies. He's one of the Loperates.
Yeah.
Which, that's a wonderful little bait and switch that they pulled on us. They're like, hey, here are these cute bunny boy twink characters you can play as. But then there's also these mega, like, weapons grade adorable bunny characters that we're adding to the game that you can't play as. And they are amazing. I love them so much. My heart just explodes every time Living Way was talking. And it's just so fucking funny and so cute, and it's amazing.
Ernest
Every time
Living
you
Way.
say Living Way, I look over at chat and I see like Nolan and Brad typing different ways of spelling Living Way into chat, and I'm losing it.
And Vena is spelled Venat.
Oh my god. Okay.
Wait, is that the Pokemon? Venonat?
No.
Venonat.
Oh.
Is he only saying his
Spelling is
name?
not important here, guys. Chris Davis, what is your runner-up for best character?
Runner-up, I'm not going to talk about Shroud because he's a fucking great character. Jared from Road 96. Anyone who's played Road 96 completely understands why I'm saying his name. My winner is Alex Chen.
But you were the only one, Chris Davis.
Well, that's the unfortunate thing.
But
there's dozens of us out there that have played Road 96 at this point.
Dozens of
Jared fans.
Yeah, and Nick will soon understand once he plays Road 96. But Alex Chen is my for Life is Strange True Colors is my winner.
She's good. She's good.
She's great. She's great. I can't wait for the eventual Life is Strange Avengers style team up game to see how she's evolved.
You know that's happening, sort of. I mean, I'll talk about it in a second, actually.
Alex Chen is an honorable mention for me as well.
In an hour and a half.
What is your runner-up?
Yeah, my runner-up is the Stoat.
Yeah,
from Inscription.
Dude. Honorable mention.
Nice.
You know why, basically.
Yes.
And I'm not going to say anything more. And then my winner is actually also Galerius from the Forgotten City, for all the reasons that everyone else said, but also just a nice guy.
He is a nice guy.
You know,
who you get to win the fucking election.
Yeah. And then a thing happens. He's just a nice guy, and a thing happens anyway, right? You know, it's like the sometimes nice guys finish break the golden rule, I guess. Right? It's such a great character, and just like the golden heart in the entire rest of the game and cast.
I love that everybody thought of Galerius, and like back when we were talking about the Forgotten City, I was like, isn't it just kind of silly the way they like let you start the loop every time and just tell this dude all the shit that you've seen, and he just runs off? I had no idea y'all were gonna be like, he's also my favorite character.
Yeah, it's so good. It's so good. Honorable mention to the person that runs things in the Forgotten City.
Yes.
The magistrate.
No.
Oh, I got you. Sorry, I got you. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. Honorable mention. Oh my god.
And Karen too from the Forgotten.
Soseki Natsume from Great Ace Attorney is one of my favorite supporting characters in that those two games.
Honorable mention, Danny from Far Cry 6, specifically Lady Danny. It's one of those like Ubisoft situations where it's like they give you the choice between playing male Danny and female Danny. And there's only one right choice. Female Danny is the bomb. She's great. It's finally a likable character again in Far Cry, and she has a personality, which is nice. Really nice.
Lately, all the entertaining protagonists in open world Ubisoft games, they're all ladies, and there's no good males.
Yeah, Cassandra is the only good choice in Odyssey. So it's very much the same situation with Danny in Far Cry 6. Anyways, our next category.
Shout out to General So, who's the main
chicken
character
is
of Chicory. when you start Chicory, you name your character based on your favorite food, and I didn't know that's where it asks you what your favorite food is, and that happens to be the name of your character. So my character, my cute little dog, was named General. So
that's funny. All right, so winners for the category, we got Glarius from Forgotten
Could
City.
have you named your character like Butthole?
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's your favorite food, Nick. I mean, Nolan.
What the fuck? Why me? Come on. Come on. Oh, man.
We know you're an ass man, okay?
The wheels are coming off this bus, okay? Recap for the best new character.
Getting late.
Glarius
We're
from
getting
Forgotten City,
loopy.
Mantis, the Leshy, Living Way, Alex Chin. Great characters. Moving on to the next category. Best new enemy design. Brad, go. You can't have that much to say about the enemy design. Just
real
go.
quick. My runner-up is the Emmy from Metroid Dread. I thought it was
my
really
winner.
cool.
I thought you hated those things.
No, not me. I mean, other people did. I liked it.
You always talked about how they looked dumb before we even played the game.
Okay, they look dumb, but mechanically, the wrinkle that they add to the game, where you just gotta fucking book it and run, is a very interesting way to change the.
I would
flow of
also
that game.
note, and I can do this because this is my winner, so I'm just adding on. Right? That it's not just that it's they look dumb, whatever, but and the way you interact with them, but it changes throughout the game because not only does now your way of traversing the game changes, but also the way the Emmys, their abilities change as well.
Yeah.
As the game progresses, it's not just the same thing. You're interacting with different Emmys and you're interacting with different ways. And yes, early on, sometimes you are just, I got a book. But later on, you're like, even though I know I can't kill them, I do feel more confident in what I'm doing, especially with the new abilities I've acquired in my ways to interact with them.
And I feel like that really tiny window you have to actually break free of them is kind of like a brilliant little thing, right? Because it's not going to happen most of the time, but when it does, because you're already super tense, and when it does, it's like, oh shit, and you just start booking it.
Or you're like, oh shit, and then you're like, oh, I can do something now. Yeah, it's like,
for sure.
The Emmys are also my winner. To add to that, getting the gravity suit in Metroid has never felt so good than right after you do that one where you're in the water with the Emmy.
Yeah, for sure. My winner, though, is I never know whether to put these in boss fights or enemy designs because they're kind of similar. But I decided to pick my favorite monster from Monster Hunter Rise, and that's Goss Harag. He's the dude that with the ice breath who blows it on his arms and makes ice swords. Such a cool fucking monster design, and it feels
his
so
weapons
good.
are also fucking sick looking too.
Sick. He looks like a fucking because all the new monsters from Rise are inspired by various mythological creatures, or he's based on an Oni style monster, and that's why his face is red and he's got these swords, and it's just really cool design, and it feels so good to wail on his ice blades once he grows them. Just absolutely one of my favorite monster designs in the whole series, and he's the one that once Monster Hunter 6 rolls around, if he's not in it, I'm gonna be super fucking pissed, right? Just great enemy design.
I would probably pick a Monster Hunter character if I could remember any of their names, but since I can't, I'm gonna give my two. My runner-up is actually the I don't even know if they have a name. The aliens or the squid things in Returnal. They remind me of the the squids in the Matrix or whatever they called them. I don't remember.
Sentinels?
The Sentinels from the Matrix. But obviously they're not machines. They're actual living creatures, and because of the environment on this alien planet, it's super dark and ominous and atmospheric, and they themselves are just super dark, and they're hard to spot in the environment, but they're shooting these bright blue beams and shit at you. It's just that whole game looks beautiful. That should have probably been an honorable mention for best looking game, because that game just pops because of the contrast between the environment and the enemy types and all of the colorful beams flying everywhere. It's so cool. I just love the way they move and the way they force you to react to them. So cool. But my winner is going to go to the cultists just in general in Deathloop. Just we've talked about that 60s vibe. It's just how all these people are just dressed up for this crazy drug fueled 60s party, and they have the masks and the painted painted makeup and stuff. It's just it reminds me of that. What's that one Gearbox game that they made that had this like really cool look to it, but ended up not being very good? Shit.
Battleborn?
No. Somebody in chat has to know what I'm talking about. The vibe in Deathloop reminds me of the characters in that one Gearbox game. Shit. Somebody has to know what I'm talking about.
Like the
I'm
Psychos in
just-
Borderlands? The Psychos in Borderlands?
No. It's a game they post. Ah, man. Somebody in chat. Don't worry about it. We'll move on. Somebody in chat will probably figure out what I'm talking about. It wasn't received very well, but the characters had this really cool. It looked like people thought it was like BioShock at first because it was like 60s vibe, but it looked
You're
very
talking
much
about
like
We Happy Few.
We Happy Few. Thank you.
Yeah.
This game reminds me of We Happy Few, but like the stuff around all of that stuff that I liked in We Happy Few actually is good. So that's nice. But yeah, I just love the whole vibe, and those enemies lend so well to like the feeling and the atmosphere of that world. So
Sorry for laughing. I had seen his spelling of Gossharag. He went with like a German etymology, I guess. He fixed it.
I had to fucking Google that shit.
you're doing great, Chris Davis. You're doing great.
What
Nolan,
did you
what
say
is
your winner
runner-up?
was, Nick? I'm sorry. The Visionaries?
The Cultists in Deathloop.
Cultists.
I mean, sure, the Visionaries are included in that, but the Cultists, just all the bad dudes in Deathloop, they're all part of the same crazy cult. All right, Nolan.
Yeah, so I was having trouble coming up with a runner-up for this one. I was kind of bouncing around between a few different games. I'm not really sure. Mainly just a lot of the games I played didn't really have like enemies, quote unquote. And so like the only thing I could think of that was kind of like I was trying to be something is the tiles in Loop Hero. Essentially, that you to an extent you get to choose the enemy that you are facing, and that can kind of change the outcome of the game. And as I talked about on the podcast when we talked a little bit more about this game in the past, it's one of those things where you want to fight enemies, but you can kind of be your own undoing, and that if you do too much and you get a little too greedy, it can be your downfall. And so that's, I don't know if you want to go with this a particular one, Chris Davis, you can say, I don't know, like yeah, tiles works. There you go, whatever, that's fine.
Okay.
Crispy, runner up.
Well, I'm kind of with Brad on this one in that I decided to put my Monster Hunter picks here. Gossarog is definitely an excellent runner-up for me. I especially like the Sword and Shield set that you can make from Gossarog parts. It looks fucking awesome because it looks like you have a giant fucking meat cleaver. So cool. But I'm gonna give the winner to Magnamalo, who is the cover art monster. Yeah, he's the flagship monster for this game, and he kind of has the design of like a like a Fu Lion kind of thing, but he spews purple hellfire, and it's just fucking. He's just fucking nasty, man. He's awesome.
I remember the name of a monster. Anjanath.
Anjanath.
Yeah,
He's not a new enemy design, but Anjanath is great.
He was cool looking.
It is funny that Nick picked they have all these elaborate monster designs.
The T-Rex one?
T-Rex.
Yeah. All right, Chris Davis. What's your runner-up?
Well, unlike you guys, evidently, I chose to have enemies with, spellable names. So my runner-up, it's not necessarily an enemy so much as the main enemy of the game. The Promise from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, I mean, you don't really. That's kind of it's more of a character, I suppose. I mean, well, not really.
Yeah, but it's how that the Promise is used, specifically like at that midpoint sequence when the Guardians actually experience the Promise.
Yeah.
That's just a fucking emotional moment, man.
It is an emotional moment. Yes.
Yeah, it's something else. And my winner, I'm going to give it to Juliana from Deathloop.
That's good.
Especially when you understand like the extent of what her role is and how she's connected to the loop. Like I think you really appreciate her as an enemy.
Yeah, no, I totally concur with that. She's not really. I would be tempted to think of her as a boss, but yeah, I think she's more of an enemy. She's just kind of running around.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I totally concur. Ed, what's your runner-up?
The shadow creatures from Unsighted. When you first encounter them, they're terrifying. They kill you very fast. It wasn't until I found the person that had Raquel's axe like embedded in them that I was like, oh, I need to kill this. I need to get Raquel's axe back. And then I figured out that if you just learn to parry very well, you can kill them very easily. Without like having and even the game doesn't tell you this. The game just says you'll be able to kill them after you power up your sword or whatever, right? After you get the meteor sword. And so, but the fact that you can kill them very easily, but just by being good at parrying, changed the game for me because all of a sudden it unlocked more of the world, right? I could explore new areas that before were locked down to me, and it was just a matter of learning a mechanic that got to.
Hell, I would even argue that because when you go to power up your sword by killing the shadow monsters, I did every shadow monster I could find. So every time you kill one, your sword gets 1 point stronger. By the time I got to the end of the game, it made the final boss like way easier because not only was my sword super strong, but like I could parry like a motherfucker. Yeah, because I got so good at it fighting those things.
Yeah, for sure. And then my winner, I already said, was the Emmy from Metroid Dread.
There we go. So honorable mentions for this. I'm going to say the werewolves from Resident Evil 8 or Resident Evil Village. Just more of their design. There was a few points in that game where they could be kind of frustrating.
No comments, Nick.
You're right. Sorry.
We all played
cool.
I know what you
ain't got time.
Cool.
I will say an honorable mention for me is the Tigrex from Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker. Because I played that this year. And that's an enemy you fight in that game, Brad. And I didn't know that.
You played a Tigrex in
yes. And a Rathalos in Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker. You fight both of those. Yes.
That's cool.
All right.
That's funny.
Our next category is best boss fight. Brad?
Yeah, sure. My real quick, my runner-up is the final boss from Monster Hunter Stories 2, which is the RPG spin-off series, Ultura. Good luck with that one, Chris Davis. Ultura, which is just a really, really crazy, challenging final boss with all these different forms and phases, and just kicked my ass. Like, this was the game I was worried about being too easy going into it, but by the time I got to the final boss, Ultura, man, really, really kicked my ass. My winner is, I knew I had to pick one from Inscription because there's so many cool boss fights, and I had to look them up, and this is going to be a bit of a spoiler, but maybe I shouldn't spoil it. Everyone should play Inscription. It's one of my favorite games of the year. I went with the Archivist, the one who accesses your the files on your computer. I say
that is my winner as well.
There's some pretty cool stuff surrounding that. Y'all need to play this game. It's great. The Archivist.
My porn folder.
Which game?
Inscription.
Inscription.
Okay.
Are we kidding, Nick? Are we?
Maybe.
Can I bounce off of that? Because I would say my winner is also from Inscription, but a different boss.
Sure.
Yeah.
I really like the Canvas. And that's the boss where you get to make the rules for the fight. And that was something I thought was really unique because it was one of those things where I was like, there's got to be a catch. Like, why is this boss letting me choose what happens in this fight? And I thought that was a very unique way to handle, like, especially, a lot of people who've played card-based games know there are often not multipliers, but modifications that can go into a round. Like, thinking something like recently I've been playing, like, Monster Hunter, enemies enter with like +2 attack or something like that. There's these things that you can do. But in this, the boss is like, what do you want to happen? Like, every time I play a card, do you want this to happen or whatever? And I thought that was a really unique way to approach that situation because depending on the cards in your deck, that really like you can make your advantage, go a certain direction. So I thought that was cool.
There was a lot of cool fights, especially in the back half of that game for sure.
Yeah.
My runner-up for best boss fight is actually from Kena Bridge of Spirits. Again, I played this game on hard, so a lot of the boss fights ended up being shockingly difficult. But the Corrupt Woodsmith in that game was particularly interesting because not only is it an incredibly fast-paced fight and this dude's jumping all around and you're having to kind of like keep pace with him and parry and dodge and stuff, but like his power, he's shielded by this beam that's like powered by this like monolith that's spinning around in the middle of the battlefield, and you have to take out these like small targets on the monolith to like power down his shield before you can go in for an attack. And it ended up just being this like shockingly complex, like difficult fight that was just like super epic too, just like from an animation standpoint, just like super memorable. So, and there was a lot of really good fights, I want to say, in Kena Bridge of Spirits. I was really surprised by how many there were, but that was a standout one for me. But my winner is Hyperion from Returnal. This is the one where you're kind of like hearing this like eerie piano, like organ music playing in the environment. And you're kind of like, as you're traversing this level, you're getting closer and closer to it. And when you finally come to this boss, he's like this like big creepy monster that's just like playing this like giant pipe organ. And I don't know, and then the fight just, from there just becomes really epic. But like the moment when you finally like discover him and see him, it's just like this epic moment.
Bullet patterns for the bosses in this game are so wild. Yeah. Like it's just, they're such a joy to look at.
Yeah,
I've seen more Returnal than I played for sure.
Yeah,
and once Hyperion you figure out what the hype, I mean, the connections to the story and the character, it's all cool.
Yeah, all very, very neat. So, Nolan, what is your runner-up? You said your winner was.
Yep.
You announced your winner, right?
Okay. Correct. The canvas from Inscription. All right, I'm doing this for Chai Tai.
Oh no! Is this Honey Pop? Is this Honey Pop?
My runner-up, not my winner. My runner-up for best boss fight is going to go to the Nymphojin, also known as Space Hookers, Moxie and I think Dwin from Honey Pop 2. That's gonna be my winner. Sorry, my runner-up.
Oh my god!
I had to be somewhere. This Chai gifted me this game. I played it and I beat it. I mean, I finished the game.
Did you now, Nolan? Please.
But I
finished him first.
I will note that it actually was a pretty unique final boss fight, mainly because it takes a lot of the characters that you like kind of had, like the missions, whatever you want to say, before the dates is what they're referred to as before, and you have to do them like consecutively, so one after another, and so it does add a layer of difficulty. So that one is for you, Chai Tai.
Wonderful. All right, Crispy, what's your runner-up and your winner for best boss fight?
Oh fuck, man! Oh fuck! I can't fucking do it. Okay,
Final Fantasy 14 spoilers.
Okay, no. Well, yes, but no. My runner-up, I'm gonna give to I guess Leshy, or the moon. I don't know how to like quantify it, but you know that the boss fight. Yeah, the boss fight you do at the end of the first part of Inscription, where you like have to fight the moon, like that. I mean, that was so cool. Like when that happened, you're just like, what the fuck is going on? He lays down like a giant card that covers his whole side of the table. Like it's so cool. It's so great. And then I'm gonna give my winner to a Final Fantasy 14 boss. It's a little difficult for me to pick. But I've decided to go with the Big Cheese, who is the final boss of a dungeon called Smileton, which is...
I'm intrigued.
A delightful dungeon. It is so fun. It's like the Okay, so I mean, without getting too much into story details, the Loporrits have like built this place where... they've basically like they're trying to build like a home for people, but they don't know people or like what people like or what people need to live. So they built a machine called the Big Cheese to figure it all out. And this machine went crazy and like started building this like giant MC Escher-esque like labyrinthine nightmare like down through the surface of the moon, and just like filled it with a bunch of random bullshit. And you have to go in there and beat up the Big Cheese to stop it from destroying the moon, basically. And the Big Cheese itself is this giant like 6-armed robot, and you fight him on a platform with all these conveyor belts, and he's like shipping bombs in to try to like blow you up while you're fighting him. It's just so fucking weird, and like definitely kind of one of the more fun dungeons after you get done doing the whole like beating depression dungeons. Like, you know. So
Damn.
I love it.
The big cheese.
The big cheese.
Every category we go over, you bring me one step closer to playing Final Fantasy 14.
It's so great. It's so great.
All right, Chris Davis, what's your runner-up?
Okay, so my runner-up isn't necessarily a quote-unquote boss fight, but it's a sort of boss experience, the climax of the game. It's the Queen's Chamber from Aliens Fireteam Elite.
Oh, never got to that point.
Yeah, I have been harping at you for months to tell you that is the best part of that game.
Sorry, it was fun. I enjoyed playing with you and Joseph, but I don't know how much more I could have given to that game to get there, because at some point it gets really repetitive.
But, I understand that. Yeah, it definitely does. That's just the nature of it. That's what that game was. And my I may be reiterating myself from a previous category, but Juliana from Deathloop is my winner. I am not necessarily a fan of the idea of players being multiplayer opponents in a primarily single player experience.
Carlos, fuck you up.
I'm glaring at you, Demon Souls, but I love how
you
they
are
did Juliana.
You are very much in the minority. I feel like isn't that one of the most
the Old Monk is one of the most iconic boss fights of all time.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, I'll never know because I'll never experience it again because you'll never give me back my copy.
Ooh. You already finished it though.
All right, Ed, what is your runner-up?
All right, my runner-up is Chaklock from Halo Infinite. It's the elite wielding the energy sword.
Oh,
yeah.
And it was like so much of playing Halo and playing against elites that have invisibility is like finding them before they find you, basically.
That's why I stopped playing the game.
And that boss fight is like all of it. That's the entire boss fight, and it's really good. I really had a lot of fun fighting him.
That's a cool fight.
My winner is also Leshy / the Moon from Inscription, and it's for one particular reason. I played that ability that reduces Stink Bug, the ability that reduces the moon, like the enemy's power that's in front of you, unless she just goes, that doesn't even make sense. You can't reduce the power of the moon.
So, he said that?
Yeah, he says that, and then the whole rest of the fight is super easy because the moon isn't attacking you anymore. So it's it's just one of many great boss fights in that game.
Yeah, that's kind of a beautiful example of what makes that game unique. For sure. All right, any other honorable mentions before we move on to our last category?
Oh, let's move on.
All right, last category.
What I will say, Metroid Dread, Drogyaga, I don't know how to pronounce the name. It's one where you're underwater. That was a really fun boss fight.
Yeah. There were some cool boss fights in that game.
I'm glad you didn't pick it, because if you can't pronounce it, I can't spell it.
Yeah, that's true. Best video game moment of the year is our final category for this segment. Brad, start us off.
Of course, a lot of choices here, but I'm going to go with runner-up, an easy one, because I was sort of live tweeting it the other day from Lost Judgment. It was the Filthy 4 quest line, where the perverts from the previous game, the Twisted Trio, got together with, whatever. It's a quest line about tracking down perverts. One of them's Ass Ketchum.
Nice.
Anyways, they're getting all the perverts in Japan together, and they're going to form their own government and country, as they explained how that's like legally possible. But it all ends with like me going to some like abandoned building, and all of a sudden it takes like this horror turn, and there's like perverts crawling on the walls and stuff. It's absolute insanity. I love that game. The Filthy 4 quest line is crazy in Lost Judgment.
That's the best argument you've ever made when we wanted to play this game. That sounds insane.
Check my Twitter. I'm live tweeting about it with screenshots and videos. I'm going to give my favorite video game moment of the year, and this is going to be a spoiler, but I have to explain it. Nolan knows what I'm talking about. It's the brutal murder of Cutie the elephant in It Takes Two.
Yep.
Which is such a horrible, fucked up moment, but you got to understand. these two divorcees or this couple,
These
they
two
were
pieces
turned
of
into
shit.
toys. They were turned into toys, and they're like, "What the fuck? We're toys. How do we become human again?" They're like, "Well, maybe we just make our daughter cry, and her tears
Hold on.
will
The
turn us
reason they
back
were
into
turned into
humans."
toys was like her tears
Yeah,
turned
that's
them into
true.
toys. So
Yeah.
they're like, well, if her tears turned us into toys, her tears can turn us back into people.
They're
We gotta
desperate.
make her cry.
They're desperate, so like we have to make her cry. So what are they gonna do? They're gonna kill Cutie the elephant, like her favorite stuffed animal, and it's just this horrible scene that keeps escalating as they're trying to like kill
It's
this
fucking
elephant
horrible.
in front of her daughter, and I think at one point she gets like caught on like a thumbtack and her arm gets ripped off or something.
Yeah.
It's just this horrible, like it's some amazing dark humor. And some people
It's not
were
even.
like, it went over their head. They're like, "This is horrible. My child was watching." Your child.
It's not even that, Brad. It's the fact that they do it. They murder the elephant, which clearly makes their daughter cry, and then they're like dancing under their daughter's tears. And they're like, "Yes, yes," and it doesn't fucking work.
Look.
No.
Parenting is hard. Sometimes parents make terrible choices, but it's a really funny scene, and it definitely stuck out for me in that game.
That's fantastic. All right, my runner-up is going to be, I've already mentioned it once tonight, but the halfway point twist in Returnal, which, again, I don't think I want to spoil because it is kind of let's just say they recontextualize the loop of the game in a pretty significant way. And, man, it is just a gut punch. And it's really creepy, too, to really think about. But I think my favorite moment, collective moment, I guess, would be
Nick,
what?
Nick, I'm
What?
sorry, dude. Like I didn't play Returnal, and it'll come up here in a second. I heard that moment described to me, and it just sounded like the sickest shit, and it made me want to play that game. Are you sure you don't want to spoil it real quick?
Well, I don't know. What do y'all think here? Is it cool if I spoil it? I mean, if you're
It's a cool science fiction horror
I'm not
moment.
gonna lie, Nick. As of this point in time, I have no plans of playing Returnal.
I don't own a PS5.
Shit. All right. Well, if you're listening at home and you don't want us to be spoiled, maybe just mute for like 20 seconds. So the whole point of the game, right? You're in this constant loop. You die, you go back, you start. So you're stuck on this alien planet, right? So at the end of, I think somewhere around the halfway point, you end up getting off of the planet and you make it home. And she lives out the rest of her days, and you see her like aging, like going through the rest of her life, and she dies of old age,
ending
and then
style.
fucking wakes up again on the planet, like she's back, like she's lived. Like it's fucking like, oh man,
she dies of old age and the loop resets. That's so cool because that's sort of like a false ending to the game, and then you realize, oh, that's cool.
Yeah, man, it's an incredible moment. So I apologize if I hope I didn't spoil that for anybody who didn't want it spoiled, but that's only the halfway point. There's still plenty of stuff after that, but that is kind of the first like moment. But my collective favorite moment of the year, I think, is the dollhouse from Resident Evil Village. Yeah, this is my winner. But yeah, anyways, it's creepy as shit, man. You're walking around this dollhouse.
Benevientos.
It's pitch black in there. You don't have any fucking weapons. You're being chased by this weird baby monster thing, and it's terrifying. And I loved every section of it. So, anyways, there you go.
That's House Benevientos.
Yes, House Benevientos.
Yeah, I don't have enough room to type that, so no.
Just call it the dollhouse.
You get dollhouse.
People know what I'm talking. Will know what I'm talking about. It was a great moment. It was another example of like Resident Evil Village just doing four very distinctive things, and that was just one of them. And because like I said, the wagon wheel design, like that's just one of the spokes, and that was really cool. Anyways, Nolan, you're next.
All right, my runner-up for best video game moment is going to go to Ground is Shaking. From Valheim. There are certain events that can occur in this game. They are random events that get triggered kind of based on your progress. But just all of a sudden on your screen, just that shows up. It can be like the forest is like walking or something like that. But the one I have vivid memories of is Ground is Shaking. when I think Jaeger had experienced it in our world before us, but I hadn't experienced it. And then when I was playing it on my own, I experienced it. I was in my house doing something, and then I got the prompt: the ground is shaking, and so that means something is happening bad. And so I exit the house, and it was like fucking Attack on Titan, because we had built this giant, wall around our little area to keep out like just small trolls and stuff like that. But I exit my house, and I turn to the right, and I have this vivid memory. We had this kind of gate, this entrance way, and I turn over and I look over there, and I just see this giant troll. And when I say giant troll, I mean they're like 20, 30 feet tall, and his head is just looking over the wall, and he's like, "Fuck this wall." Just like knocks it down, and like the trolls are just fucking wrecking havoc at the edge of our base, and I'm just like freaking out because now I'm like trying to get them away because I don't want to destroy our base. But it's like such a great moment in that game. But my winner for best gaming moment, and I've kind of already mentioned it earlier today, but it was the first time I sinned in Forgotten City, because you do it, and then you're like, immediately you're like, oh fucking shit, like what, like because like it's one of those things where a lot of the time in like Skyrim, it's like you're like, oh, do you want to steal this money from this chest, and you're like, well, I can look around, no one's here, and don't mind if I do. And so you do it, but shit happens.
Yeah.
Immediately I'm like, escape, and then the game is like, hold on a second, are you sure you want to do this? And that's like the first time I've tried to interact with a game's menu, and the game's been like, well, hold up a minute, kid. Listen here.
I know what you're doing.
You don't load your save. And you're like, what? And like the game's like kind of like telling you, like, maybe just see how things go. And I was like, oh, I'm intrigued. And then like, so I go back into the game, and like all of a sudden I see this guy like just running, and it's like, maybe see what that guy's up to. That was such just like an amazing moment in that game. Once again, highly recommend The Forgotten City.
Very, very good fucking game.
I'm really gonna have to check that out now.
You really should. I feel like it's very much a Chris Davis game.
Free on Game Pass.
Crispy.
Well, okay.
It's 14, but what is it?
Well, okay, no, just hang on, okay? My runner-up is Inscription, specifically for finishing the first act of Inscription, and like having a lot of that game spoiled for me, but not having that, and it's still happening, and being like, what the fuck is going on here? Yeah. Like it was I was very thankful for that. I'm usually not as sensitive to spoilers as some other people, but I was very happy to be fresh on that one. And my winner, of course, it's Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker, because it's a lot, man. It's a lot. You travel to the end of existence and save all of life as you know it. You're the ultimate hero. You come home to a hero's welcome, and it's just like it just I can't even talk about it anymore. It's amazing. It's really good.
I can see Chris Davis like, I don't even know what to type.
Yeah, just like finishing the final day, defeating the final days,
It's a lot.
Final Fantasy XIV, there's a lot. There's a whole lot to it.
Perfect. Wonderful. All right, Chris Davis, what's your runner-up?
Okay. My runner-up goes to the first real moment in Halo Infinite in which you encounter a very tall building. And there's an Easter egg on top and the first skull you can actually get. And you can come back there later in the game with a flying vehicle like a Banshee or a Wasp to get what's on top of there. But at that point early in the game, if you know what you're doing, you can grapple shot your way all the way up there. And I did just that, spending like 20, 30 minutes working my way up. And it really taught me like the mechanics and physics of the grapple shot and how to maneuver and use it in that game. And getting that climb to the top and getting that Easter egg and the first skull felt so
it's like Rocky.
good.
It's like Rocky getting to the top of the steps.
Pretty much, yeah.
I'm picturing it.
It is it's a feeling of victory, even though you have accomplished very little, technically speaking. And for my winner, it's pretty much that first experience of the Apex Predator level in Hitman 3. Because you go in, and unlike any other level, as far as I'm aware in the entire franchise, you don't have a list of
targets.
What
location? I'm sorry. What
the
location?
Berlin.
Okay.
You go in, and you have no target list. You don't know what you're looking for. You're just entering a level, and you're experiencing it as you explore. And you eventually have targets.
That should be the whole game, I feel like.
Oh, it is something fucking else.
You'd work for a pretty bad agency if you're a hitman and you never know who you're supposed to kill.
Well, the cool thing is they're like hunting you too,
yeah,
right?
You're being hunted.
Yes, they very much are. Yes.
Yeah, like this. I honestly hope that IO Interactive's James Bond game is entirely based on this level. I think that's the foundation for a fucking great experience.
We shall see. All right, Ed, what's your runner-up?
Runner-up is the Archivist from Inscription.
Did you launch a third-party program to check file sizes on your computer? Because I did.
No, but I knew where my big files were.
In the porn folder.
No, it's
definitely in the porn folder.
It's in the Fraps folder, Nick. Come on. And then my winner is, I'm cheating a little bit, and I'm sorry, is Negotiating in Forgotten City. You do it 3 different times in the game, and each of those are great moments. You do it with the Egyptian, you do it with the golden statues, and then you do it at the end of the game. And all 3 of those moments are great moments for very different reasons. I mentioned the Egyptian reason earlier today about like the societies building off each other. The middle one's kind of like terrifying in its own right, and then the last one is just like it just brings everything to a close, to a great conclusion.
You should have been a Lincoln Douglas debater in high school.
I guess so.
Because that's what we debated about often, is stuff like that.
There we go. So again, recap our winners for best video game moment: Cutie the Elephant in It Takes Two, the Dollhouse in Resident Evil Village.
No, the brutal murder of Cutie the Elephant.
The brutal murder of Cutie the Elephant.
I don't have
the first sin in Forgotten City. It's a lot in Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker, Apex Predator in Hitman 3, and Negotiating in the Forgotten City. All right, so this is we have one more segment to record after this. So when we come back, we're going to do biggest surprise, biggest disappointment, the Asterisk Award, biggest regret. And technically there's one more break, but we'll do the number 11 award, but that'll all be in the same episode, technically speaking. So I guess who hasn't done their Nolan, why don't you set up your soundtrack of the year?
Sure. So my soundtrack, my best gaming soundtrack from 2021 is going to go to Death's Door.
You bitch.
I think Nick had also potentially wanted to choose
eyes
this
on
one.
it too, but as long as it gets honored, that's all that matters.
Oh, for sure. It is a fantastic soundtrack. It's definitely one of those ones that you can, for almost all of them, kind of have them on in the background. There's a couple that are meh, but for the most part, they are all like really good, just kind of background gaming soundtrack sounds. So.
Absolutely. So enjoy a sample from the Death's Door soundtrack, and when we come back, we'll go over our last few awards. So don't go anywhere. Guys, this is our final segment. This is our final segment of awards. So we have 5 more categories to go through. In this segment, we're going to be doing biggest surprise, biggest disappointment, our Asterisk Award, our biggest regret of the year, and we cap things off with our number 11, the game that just barely missed our top 10. So,
yeah, I was thinking actually today that in the future and today we should do our biggest regret as the first game, first award we give out. That way, when other people are talking about it the entire fucking show, we don't have to wait till the end to say, that was my fucking regret. It's like ahead of time, like, I wish I played this one. But anyway,
oddly enough, my biggest regret has not been said all evening.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
All right, my runner-up.
Biggest surprise.
For biggest surprise is Guardians of the Galaxy. I think this is a big surprise for everyone.
Yeah, this is my winner.
I think a lot of people expected this to be poo-poo. The initial showing of the game at whatever award or game. I mean,
from day one.
Whatever press conference or whatever that showed up. E3.
It was E3 actually. Yeah.
It wasn't a great showing. And we're all kind of like punchy anyways during these things, so we're not looking for things to love, we're looking for things to hate. Anyways,
it was poorly marketed.
I am definitely not that kind of person.
I was from Jump Street.
We're all surprised. We were all kind of surprised. Honestly, I think it looked okay. I think people were kind of harsh on it, honestly, at E3, but it turned out to be pretty good. It's a surprise for me because I hated it when I first started it. My teammates wouldn't shut up, and it really started to like stress me out, and I had put it down for a while, but I finally gave it another shot, and I kept going, and eventually they kind of, what was once annoying becomes endearing. You grow to love your team, and it was a surprise I ended up liking that game, even though I didn't really care too much about the combat, but I threw everything on easy, and what was too like spongy and annoying became fun and breezy. Actually,
I did eventually make that switch myself.
Yeah, makes it a lot better.
I wish this was the full package. I wish the combat and the gameplay was on par with the presentation and the characters and the story, because it would have been a dead ringer for like game of the year for me, honestly, if that aspect had lived up to all that stuff. But at the end of the day, it just ended up being a really endearing story with really great characters and really great acting. So, which is good too.
A post-mortem about this game is really going to turn out to be interesting, I bet.
Yeah, but my winner for biggest surprise is, again, I know Nolan wanted me to talk about a little bit about it, so I guess I'll do that here as quickly as possible, is Chicory. The reason Chicory is my biggest surprise of the year is not only is it one of my very, very favorite games of the year, surprise, it is a demo I didn't enjoy. I know Nolan didn't really enjoy the demo when it had a little Steam event early on.
I hated the demo.
Well, I don't know if I hate it. First of all, I'll say like don't play Chicory with a controller. It is a game about like painting and expressing yourself. Play with a mouse or play with the touchscreen on the Switch. It does not play well with a controller. But what really surprised me about this game is I knew it was a game where I was going to like the characters, I was going to like the writing, I knew it was going to be charming because I was a fan of Wandersong, and Wandersong was a game where the gameplay is kind of whatever, but the writing's really good, the characters are really good. It's even better in Chicory, and it's kind of like a mix between like Animal Crossing charm but also like Night in the Woods, where it's like, oh, this is well written and they're kind of talking about real shit. It's like a mix between those, and it makes like this really like colorful, lively world where you really want to talk to everyone multiple times and exhaust all the dialogue. And I knew the game was going to be that, and I knew there was going to be the painting aspect. But what I didn't expect is it to be like such a well-designed, intricate world where as you got more abilities, you realize like, oh wait, I can like go there. There's like a secret area up there. Like there's a lot of hidden secrets and areas and stuff that become like really rewarding to like reach and explore as you get more abilities and you start to look at and think about the world completely differently. And by the time you get to like the final act of the game and they're like, just go to these 4 places, they're out in the world. You couldn't get to them before, but you have all these abilities now. You can get to them. You could do them in any order and you just go exploring and you eventually do these 4 trials and you realize it's like, this is a very well-made Zelda game. And when I started this, I did not think it was going to be a well-made Zelda game. But the puzzles kept getting better. The exploration kept getting better. The abilities kept getting better. And ultimately, this became a complete package for me where I loved the characters, I loved the writing, I loved the world, I loved the look of it and the painting and the charm and the side quests. It's like the best Zelda side quests, in this game. It feels like Link's Awakening style, like, personality with the side quests. But then the gameplay and like the exploration started to become really rewarding. And I know we didn't mention it. This very nearly was my favorite soundtrack of the year. It was second behind Great Ace Attorney, but this is a Lena Raine soundtrack, the composer of Celeste, and this is honestly almost as good as, or just as good as Celeste with more variety. Like, this is a complete package game. I encourage everyone to play it, and it was the biggest surprise for me. Just play it with a mouse or a touchscreen because it's a game about expressing yourself, and my God, there's great characters. Like, this is a game that I didn't want to talk about all night tonight. That's why it was like in my honorable mentions in each of these fucking categories, but it could have very easily been best ensemble, best characters, best story, best world design. It's really, really good at all of those things. People play Chicory, except Nick.
This is the first time I didn't even know this. People were drawing comparisons to Zelda with this game. So
yes, when you play the demo, you don't think it's going to be a Zelda game, really. You think it's going to be kind of like gameplay in the background, funny character. You think it's going to be more like Wandersong, but it's not. It's a great world that's extremely satisfying and rewarding to explore. Yep. Even if the secrets are like outfits and stuff, but like getting to them, it's very tricky. I 100%ed a lot of games this year. This is one I tried to, but I could not find all the secrets in this game. It is a tricky beast. I did not expect that from this game. So, sorry for going too long. It's my biggest surprise of the year. One of my very favorite of the year. Nick.
All right. Well, my winner is Guardians of the Galaxy. I already said that. But my runner-up was definitely Metroid Dread. It's had a lot going against it right out of the gate. We're not the hugest fans of Mercury Steam here. Maybe rightfully so. And I didn't hear a lot of really glowing things about Samus Returns. And it was just it smelled of this, like Nintendo passing off one of their most beloved franchises to somebody else, which is, it's really risky when you do that. You never know what you're gonna get. But yeah, man, not only does this turn out to be, a great showpiece for the OLED Switch. It looks fucking phenomenal on the OLED Switch. But it ended up just being an all-around like great feeling game, and it had a great look to it, and just I don't know, man. It's a great 2D Metroid game, and I never expected that coming into this. So really, really, really surprised by that. Nolan, what is your runner-up?
All right, my runner-up for biggest surprise is It Takes Two. I didn't really expect a whole lot going into this. A Way Out was definitely not one of my favorite games. I was worried it was going to be a little bit more similar to that. I knew that it was obviously going to be a little more lighthearted and fun, but I did not expect 90% of what I came out of that game with. It never failed to, with each area, kind of surprise me and shock me and show me something new that I really enjoyed. And my winner for biggest surprise is not positive. I went a different route. It's going to go back to 12 minutes. Because surprise. It was something that I was enjoying the game. I really was. I was enjoying that game. And then they open up the dump truck and drop a big old pile of rocks on you. And they're like, have fun, bitch. And I didn't. And I didn't like it. And I will keep saying that. And anybody who's like, hey, Nolan, you play video games. Should I play 12 minutes? I will say no. Do not play that game.
Easily one of the most divisive games of the year, I think.
You got a nomination for Best Story at the Game Awards.
I see a lot of people either love it or they hate it. So
not many of them love it.
And so, Brad, I will bring up that earlier you had mentioned like, oh, ha, ha, ha. That's a category on Pornhub or whatever you said. The problem is the people on Pornhub, everyone is in on it and everyone is willing, and that is not how this game went, and that's one of the biggest frustrations for me.
And the people who have no idea what you're talking about right now are kind of like, what?
It's pretty shocking, horrible stuff.
Yeah, yes, it's fucking horrible.
Yeah.
All right.
It's a doozy. All right. Crispy, what is your runner-up for biggest surprise?
Biggest surprise runner-up, I'm gonna give it to Inscription, only because I've played Pony Island and he did something else too.
The Hex.
The Hex.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Actually, I didn't know the Hex, but I kind of knew that things were gonna be fucky going into it. I was still surprised by how fucky they got, and how wild and kind of crazy it got, and I love it. But my winner for biggest surprise, I'm gonna also give to Guardians of the Galaxy. Like I said, I was kind of into the idea of this game from Jump Street, but how the caliber of storytelling and the sort of willingness to suspend disbelief that I felt while playing that game did surprise me. So
yep,
it was great. Loved it.
All right. Chris Davis, looks like Guardians was your runner-up.
Correct.
So what's your winner?
I mean, I mentioned it earlier tonight, but I'm kind of reiterating. Nier Replicant. I get it now. I understand Nier.
Thank goodness.
Yay!
Yay! Welcome to the Nier fan club here.
2010 or 11.
Excuse me. All right. So Ed, what is your runner-up?
Yeah, so my runner-up, biggest surprise is kind of interesting. I'm taking an interesting take here. It does go to Outer Wilds Echoes of the Eye, and it goes for the reasons that I kind of mentioned earlier, that they basically took, like I said, one of the greatest games ever made, and pulled it and made an expansion out of it, and still managed to surprise me, still managed to delight me, and I came away from that being like, okay, this is a developer that knows what made their original game so good and how to keep doing it. So I'm like with bated breath awaiting their next creation.
Can't wait to see what that is.
Yeah. And then my winner is also Inscription. Because kind of in the out of comfort zone kind of style, where I don't really like card games, but it really did something for me and I really enjoyed it. So so Noel linked me Monster Train earlier today, and now it's like,
Dude,
maybe this is me. It's like me and roguelikes. Now I'm like,
yeah, totally.
Maybe this is for me.
I want to add on Inscription. The reason it was an honorable mention for me is I don't even really like Pony Island. I think it's overrated. Like I get what it's doing, and I think it's very.
Boo, sir.
I think it's clever, but like
No,
it is.
I agree.
It is slight compared to Inscription.
Yeah, it's like the gameplay isn't really there with Pony Island. It's just an interesting like meta narrative, right? And so Inscription like a lot kind of has the best of both in a way, right?
Yeah,
right.
For sure.
And I think the Hex was more like gameplay driven too, right? I never played it, so
a game has to have gameplay now. Fucking lame.
All right, Chris.
Right. Our next category. Oh, sorry. The recap for biggest surprise: Chicory, 2 votes for Guardians of the Galaxy, 12 minutes, but not for a good reason. Nier Replicant and Inscription. Our next category is biggest disappointment. This is self-explanatory. Brad, I think I know what's going to be on your list. Go for it.
Well, okay. So these were originally flipped, but for the sake of time, I'm going to put my winner as my runner-up because I talked about it extensively on a podcast. I've argued about it, but this was my first time playing Final Fantasy XIV, and I was expecting a different game, and I expect my reaction to be a lot different. You know how Nolan said he was like scared of it, like getting addicted and hooked and obsessed with it? I was scared of that happening too, and it didn't happen. I really didn't like A Realm Reborn, and that's kind of all I played, that and the post patches, and I found that really disappointing because I had been dreaming about that day I finally, decided to give up my life and get into an MMO, and it just didn't grab me like I was expecting. But my winner is, you probably heard me talking about it for months, is I'm really big Tales of fan, and I was really disappointed in Tales of Arise. It was one of my very biggest, like most anticipated games of the year. I thought it was going to be a big step forward for the franchise. It was not. It had shiny new graphics, but in pretty much every other way, it's kind of stuck in the budget era of Tales of series that started with Tales of Exilia. And honestly, like some of those, like Tales of Berseria, which is the game that came before Tales of Arise, I liked a lot more. I think the cast is way more fun and likable. There's more memorable characters. Tales of Arise was filled with way too many boring skits. Um, where before they were like fun and breezy and like you really started to care about your team. Here they were just all kind of dull. Everyone's fucking sad in the game. Everyone is as tragic past in the game. It's just and then when they get into exposition, it's just kind of fucking boring. Like Tales of games are like exciting and breezy and fun, and they have their serious moments, but here I didn't care about the cast like I usually do in a Tales of game. The combat was fine, but the combat is always good in a Tales of game. Good combat is not going to be enough for me. It's the characters, it's the story, it's those relationships, and it's fucking Magilu. Okay, there was no Magilu type character in this game, and they were all just the straight man, I feel like. And it really drug it down. And I could go on and on about my problems with Tales of. I'm not going to do it here, but I was really disappointed in Tales of Rise, even though I played it for 100 hours, because I tried so hard to find the love and it wasn't there. And it really bummed me out.
That's a lot of searching.
That's a lot. But, he loves the series. All right. My runner-up is going to be 12 minutes. I didn't even get far enough in the game to get to that horrendous twist that Nolan was referring to, but I expected to really like this because I like time loops. I like these kinds of like mysterious conceits and stuff for indie games like this, and I like the actors involved in bringing this game to life, but it did not.
Like, how were they okay with that? How were they okay? Fucking
they were getting paid. So,
No, I get it. I'm drawing a blank on fucking both of their names now.
Daisy Ridley and
Daisy Ridley. Yep.
Oh my god.
Scottish. Is he Scottish? His last name's with an M.
Oh my god.
Why am I having a horrible?
You know who you're talking about.
He was Professor X in the X-Men movies, the newer ones, First Class. Yeah, McAvoy.
James McAvoy.
Yeah, James McAvoy. Thank you. Anyway, and Gonzo Luden chat saying, "Oh, it's artistic. You don't get it." All right, I'm gonna spoil this for anybody. I'm
my god.
For 30 seconds, I'm gonna spoil this game. If you don't want to hear the spoilers, you can stop listening. But if you do want to hear the spoilers, you can listen. Forced incest? Are you fucking kidding me? Yeah, Chris Davis, that's your face, and that's what happens in this fucking game, and it's fucking ridiculous. Like, I'm sorry, and we can be done with spoilers. We don't have to go into the details now. How was that an okay thing to be like? Oh, well, blah blah blah, and artistic. No, that's fucked up. And I get it. I get that. Oh, you could be. That's just for the story and blah blah blah. There are 10,000 other ways you could have taken this story and not had that be the element to it.
Yeah,
it is fucking ridiculous.
What are you doing?
I was very much looking forward to this game. I was very much looking forward to this game, and the fact that and even before getting to all that weird, gross shit, I was bored after like 4 loops. It was like the apartment's tiny. I mean, I was finding new stuff, but like moving around the environment wasn't particularly interesting, and then
it's not a fun game to play
every time. It's just
that game needed a Galerius, and it didn't have it.
It didn't need a Galerius. But it also kind of needed something to like. It didn't do a good enough job of hinting you of what you should be doing, because you would just keep kind of trying the same thing, and in reality, there wasn't 10,000 things you could have done. There was only honestly like, even if you take the the factorial of the different routes you could take, there's only honestly like 30 different things. But the problem is, unless you had a journal next to you where you were jotting down, okay, I did this and then I did this and then I did this, you would often accidentally do the same thing maybe 2 or 3 times in a row and not realize. But it's not like you could just let me undo that. You had to restart the whole thing.
Yeah, the loop is a waste.
It got a little tedious.
There were a lot of good games with time loops this year, and this, unfortunately, for me, was not one of them. But my winner for biggest disappointment is Biomutant.
Hey, that's also my winner for biggest disappointment.
Very excited for Biomutant. I knew part of me knew that it was obviously going to be a bit of a jank open world game, but I like those at times, especially if the conceit is interesting enough and it has a cool visual style and just a cool concept. And I think it does have all those things, but it released in such a broken state that I had to put it down. And going into it, I was like, if they can deliver on any of these concepts, even if it's kind of has the open world repetitive stuff, that I can usually look past that if the conceit behind it is cool enough. I was like, this could be one of my favorite games of the year, but man, it was just largely broken. It might be better now. It might, but I was just really
world. So hold on. So I will say I did play a little bit after they patched it, and they definitely made things better. They adjusted some balancing issues, but that didn't change the fact that the open world was kind of fucking boring.
It was,
like, which is weird because it looks so not boring.
It looks beautiful. I do like the character art, like art for some of the enemies you interact with, and some of the villages you go to, and some of the. But it's just like it is. First off, it is way too fucking big than it has any right to be. It is way too big for how little there is in the world. And it is just like frustrating that it's like in a lot of games where they have big open like vast areas like things honestly even like, and I say big, think of something like Red Dead. There are big swaths of area that are between towns, but you can do hunting there. Random quests will take you there to do things. In this, there are big open areas, literally nothing. It's just big open for no reason. They never put anything there.
And the interesting places that are on the map that you want to go explore, like you have to build up a gigantic community and have protective clothing for. So you got to grind for potentially dozens of hours in order to go see what those places are like.
Also, the narrator, man.
The narrator was bad.
Graham in chat brings up because you speak in like gibberish, and then the narrator translates, and it just makes everything take twice as long.
They did fix that, I think, in a patch where they could like get rid of it or something. Like you can get rid of the gibberish. I can't.
They introduced a slider to where you can reduce narrators.
Oh no, that's a hold on, Chris Davis. That's a different thing. Yeah, there's a slider for how often when you're exploring the world the narrator just says shit. And you know what? Before they introduced that, he said shit all the fucking time. Every time you like climbed a ladder, he'd be like, "Oh, he ascended the ladder," like every fucking time. And it was like, are you kidding me? And it took them like a couple of weeks, and they put out a patch that they could let you turn that shit down because he was constantly talking. Yeah. But yeah, I wanted it to be better.
Nolan, what's your runner-up?
My runner-up is actually Deathloop. I'm not saying it is a bad game by any means. I am just disappointed in what I came out of that game with. I will say, we talked about it before. Everyone was super high on the game early on. I was not. After talking with y'all on a few podcasts, Ed and Crispy really kind of sold me on it. I was like, all right, I'm going to give this thing a shot. And I played more and I kind of got into it. But at the end of the day, like the middle part of the game, I was satisfied with. And then by the time I got to the ending, I was no longer satisfied anymore.
The story does not feel like it comes together in a very satisfying way, I don't think.
Well, I mean, it just doesn't trust the player.
Yeah. I would say that I did find myself enjoying the gameplay. Some of the story elements I did like, but the fact that there was only one solution to this puzzle that I feel like lied to in believing that I would have more influence on what was going on. That's my disappointment. My disappointment is I felt like there was no actual control over anything.
It's like even when you go through all the steps to finish it, it's like it still feels lacking at the end. I think.
For sure. So like I said, I'm not saying it's a bad game. I was just disappointed in what I came out of it with.
Right? Because I feel like Deathloop is a game where like the ending should be everything. It should be the best part of the game. And it is the opposite, which is weird.
That made the difference. I feel like that could have a better ending may have saved this game for me in terms of like being in my top 10 and that kind of thing. But like ultimately I finished it and I was like, all right, moving on. Crispy, do you have a runner-up for biggest disappointment?
I do not have a runner-up for this category. I only have a winner. I didn't play enough games.
We made it really far through this podcast until before you finally said you don't have a runner-up.
I don't have a runner-up. Yeah, I thought about it and I was like, you know what? No, I didn't play that many new games this year, but they were all pretty good, except
just be disappointed in me for not playing Final Fantasy 14.
Disappointed in Brad. No, I want you to live your bliss, Brad. If anything, the ending of Final Fantasy 14 Heavenward taught me that like we should all just coexist and we're all just different instruments in a beautiful symphony of life, and that's okay. But my biggest disappointment this year, I'm gonna give to Back 4 Blood.
I knew it.
Okay,
that's a good one.
I bought this game to play with some friends, my D&D friends, because that's just what they happen to be doing at the moment. And I missed a sale on it, and then they were like, "Hey, come on, play!" And I'm like, "All right, fine." So I bought the game full price, started playing it, and was like, "Oh no, this can't just be this, right? Like I paid full price for this. That's not worth what I paid."
It was on Game Pass.
I don't have fucking Game Pass, Nicholas.
What are you doing with your life?
I don't have Game Pass.
I don't have Game Pass.
Oh, it's just, oh my god, it's
You're
just
crazy.
stupid. It's just bad, and it's just like I don't even know if I like zombies anymore.
To be fair, at least Crispy has an older gaming PC and no Xbox.
Hey, my PC is just fine, thank you.
Yeah, everything can
It
run.
is kind of old.
Anything built in the past 7 years can run.
Well, then get Game Pass, you fucko.
Yeah,
not you, Chris Davis. We don't talk about Game Pass. We don't talk about Game Pass. But Crispy, you should definitely get Game Pass.
Back 4 Bloods. I mean, I share a lot of your pains with that. That campaign largely doesn't do that much as exciting, and
it's just stupid.
The versus, like, it's an arena fight. It's not an actual campaign thing. And
I didn't even do that. And I don't know. It's just fucking dumb. I don't have anything to say about it. Get out my face, Back 4 Blood. You're bad. I guess people really like Left 4 Dead, and I did too at the time. But like, is this really something that we're just like stamping out whole and like shipping forward into 2021? Like, and that's acceptable?
I think people and maybe developers think there was a bigger thirst for a Left 4 Dead follow-up than there actually is.
Oh, well, I definitely think people thought they wanted it.
Yeah,
more.
that's what I'm saying.
Like I don't think that was like a fake demand that like the developers and the publishers came up with. I think people who played Left 4 Dead thought like, "Oh, that was so cool. They should do another one of those." No, like come on, stop doing that. Stop
Maybe you should try Anna
doing that. Stop talking about old games. Old games are dead, okay? Let's make new games.
Says the person playing an MMO from 2011.
Let's make new games.
All right, Chris Davis, what's your runner-up?
My runner-up for biggest disappointment is also Back 4 Blood.
There we
I
go.
share a lot of Chris's sentiments. Again, the campaign just wasn't what it could have been.
Hey, I will say that when we played that, I don't know if it was an alpha or a beta, whatever it was enjoyable.
Mm-hmm.
But then like that, it just didn't have staying power.
Yeah,
like it's just one of those things where
like, staying power.
Yeah, like the card mechanic was unique and stuff like that, but like at the end of the day, it just felt like a Left 4 Dead 2.1.
Yeah, it's really just more of a slight enhancement on those old games. The progression system doesn't do what it should to ensure longevity. And again, I put hundreds of hours playing multiplayer versus in Left 4 Dead 1.
That still blows my mind, but to each their own.
What's your runner-up, though? What's your winner?
My winner is Battlefield 2042.
Yeah.
I was really looking forward to this game. I was like, DICE is back. They're doing modern stuff again, and oh wait, they're doing no campaign. They're doing just pure multiplayer, and it's a evolving product. And oh god, it's launching, and it shouldn't even be in beta at this point. And just it's just a cavalcade of balance issues and gameplay structure that does not encourage teamwork or anything that really makes fucking sense for a game that's mainly about infantry combat but just happens to have vehicles. Well, vehicles are fucking predominant and they destroy everything in their path. So I don't know.
Well, I don't know, Chris. You ever gotten in a fight with a car? It would kick your ass.
I can't say ever.
So maybe that's realistic, you know?
Yeah, but it's a video game now. I have gotten in fights with cars in video games like Street Fighter 2. But no, it just doesn't work as is. This is a good game, I think, like a year from now, with a lot of work. but
kind of like
as
Cyberpunk
is, no.
was. All right, Ed, what is your runner-up?
Yeah. So quick hits. Tales of Arise for me. It was supposed to be my first Tales of game that I would like enjoy, and I bounced off it pretty hard. Like that, I think I just managed to get out of that first chapter, and then after that, I was kind of like, all right, I'm not really feeling this. And then Biomutant was my winner as well. For all the reasons you guys said. I really enjoyed the combat of that. But when I played it like packs and stuff, it had a lot of potential, but just there wasn't enough around it to keep it going. So I didn't even bother with it for my time.
Very true. All right.
If that game would have been like 15 hours long and linear, I think it could have been so much better.
Possibly. I don't know about completely linear,
or maybe
but a
they're
smaller
just bad
world
at
for
making
sure.
games.
All right. Recap: biggest disappointments. Tales of Arise, 3 votes for Biomutant, Back for Blood, and Battlefield 2042. Moving on to our Asterisk Award. This is our chance to give an award to a game that we played from a different year, just something that we played this year that we really that we really enjoyed,
or other things,
or whatever,
DLC.
Or other things.
It could be something in early access. It's just
right.
an asterisk.
All right. Well, why don't you lead us then, Brad?
The shit Chris Davis won't let us put on our top 10. Okay.
Yeah.
My runner-up for this award goes to Resident Evil 4 VR. Just because, I don't have to talk too much about it, but just know that the VR implementation is really, really, really cool. I got a Quest 2, and I love Resident Evil 4. This is a whole new way to play this game. It is crazy. You got to try it. My winner for this award is actually, this was going to be where I do a little lip service to Life is Strange. I did play True Colors. I did like True Colors, but I found it disappointing in some ways, actually. But what I did like was the Wavelengths DLC. It's an episode where you play as Steph. She works in the record shop / DJ booth. In this DLC, you're actually playing like a radio DJ. You're answering calls, you're reading ads, you're like putting on records, and you make all these choices. You choose what ads to read, you choose what to like answer as like people call in, and you're choosing what records to like put on and queue up, and then you're doing stuff like out in the shop as well. And it progresses through 4 different seasons of when she moves to this town, and that story evolves. And it wasn't until I started playing the Wavelengths DLC that I even realized that Steph was a character from Before the Storm. She was the one running the D&D campaign in Life is Strange Before the Storm. So it starts to, and you realize that she's actually kind of running from the events of what happened back in Arcadia Bay, because the actual canon of Life is Strange is, of course, Rachel dies. I mean, that's a big part of that story. But the Donnie Darko Chloe ending is canon. So that obviously those deaths have an effect on Steph, and you're kind of like she's dealing with her past, and it's just a really cool, like, interesting way to handle a DLC where it's very like gameplay driven. There's way more choices in this than your typical Life is Strange game, where you're going on your dating app and you're swiping left or right and you're having conversations with people, and they're all choices. And then as the seasons change, stuff from those relationships will appear like in the store, and she'll comment on them. It's surprisingly cool and different DLC for Life is Strange True Colors. And if you're a True Colors fan like Nick, or I think Chris Davis likes Life is Strange and stuff, I highly recommend checking out the Wavelengths DLC. It's really cool. Steph is a great character too.
Steph is a fantastic character. All right, my runner-up for the Asterisk Award goes to, I played through, not only did I replay all of Half-Life 2 this year, I played Black Mesa, which was honestly my first experience playing the original Half-Life game.
That was this year you played that?
That was this year. And Black Mesa was a hell of an experience. I absolutely loved it. It kind of made me fall in love again with Half-Life as a franchise all over again. Man, it's between Black Mesa, Half-Life 2, and Alex. Man, Half-Life is a hell of a franchise. But my winner goes to, this is actually a game I'm waiting to be complete before I put it on my top 10 games of the year, and even put it on my top 10 games of all time, because I'm almost sure it's going to be guaranteed a spot on my top 10 games of all time when it's all said and done. And that is The Long Dark. Episode 3 and 4 came out this year. I haven't played 4 yet. I've been trying to find the time, but episode 3 I played earlier this year, called Crossroads Elegy. The Long Dark is fucking incredible, and I haven't had enough opportunities to really talk about it here, but it is an absolutely incredible survival game. Subnautica turned me on to survival games, but The Long Dark is far and away my favorite survival game. Tells a really interesting story, great characters, really great mechanics, and it's stressful in all the right ways, but also just really chill, and I don't know, man. It has such a cool atmosphere to it, such a cool vibe. I cannot wait to. There's gonna be 5 episodes total, and there's 1 left. 4 is already out, so yeah, that is my winner for the Asterisk Award. Nolan, your turn.
Alrighty. My runner-up for the Asterisk Award is Monster Train. This is a game we've talked about before on the show. It's definitely been in people's top 10s. But it is something that has kind of retaken my brain in my every waking moment. I've literally played half of all the time I've spent playing the game has been in the last 2 weeks. I've played quite a bit of it in the last 2 weeks. Maybe 3 weeks, I don't know, something like that. Steam's kind of weird with their numbers sometimes. But it's one of those things where it's kind of been like all encompassing. I don't know, maybe I'm a weirdo. Do games and things you play ever like kind of invade your dreams?
Yeah, definitely.
All the time.
It's been one of those things where lately, sometimes where I'm kind of like, you kind of wake up in the middle of sleep and you're trying to get back to sleep, and like it's almost been like this weird thing.
Baby.
Yeah, but where this weird thing where I've been in my brain and I'm like half asleep, half awake, and I'm like, oh no, I need to play my sleep card because I want to go back to sleep because I'm like for something like my brain is like kind of locked into Monster Train. And it's just like it's something I've been thinking about.
When I'm heavy into Monster Hunter, I'm doing like skill loadouts. Like this has got to get done.
Yeah. But yeah, it's such a good game. But then my winner for the Asterisk Award is going to go to Sackboy's Big Adventure. Never played it when it came out. This year, obviously with the pandemic and everything, been doing spending a lot of time at home. And so me and Bernadette were trying to find some times where we can play games, but also play them together. So we kind of got into like Overcooked. And then, after we basically 100%ed that game almost twice, I was like, hey, I've heard good things about Sackboy's Big Adventure. I remember Brad talking a lot about him and Malia playing it when it first came out. Let's try that one out. Had a blast playing that game. Bernadette and I, just couch co-op playing through Sackboy's Big Adventure. So much fun.
It's such a good IP, and it's a shame that like it's not a successful one.
Mm-hmm. It is nowhere near as successful as it should be. With how unique the levels are and how fun the platforming is, and how each kind of in particular this game, there's a book and you're going through different pages in the book, and each page is like a different area, and there's like a jungle area. Dude, the space stuff, like the futuristic space stuff where you have like jetpacks and like laser like Mega Man blasters and stuff.
It's good.
Dude, it is so much fun.
The fucking outfits. Dude, Sackboy should be the mascot.
They're still coming out with outfits. They are still coming out with like, there's like free outfits for the game, like kind of, this unique thing's going on. And so like more recently I got like they have a bunch of free outfits. Like, they have a bunch of like Last of Us character. They have like an Ellie outfit and like an Abby outfit. And they have like just all of these, like, obviously, PlayStation IP characters, just outfits for them and stuff like that. And then besides all that, there's just all these very unique outfits in the game that with in-game currency. You don't have to pay for any of this. I'm sure they have some pay for stuff, but there's so much you can do just in the game to kind of customize stuff. So a whole lot of fun.
Alrighty. Crispy? You with us? I think you're muted.
Asterisk Award.
Okay. Asterisk Award. Okay. My runner-up for the Asterisk Award, I'm giving to Katana Zero.
Ooh.
Ah.
Game that Chai gifted me for like Christmas, I think. He just had like a whole list and he was like, "Here, pick one." And I was like, "Ooh, Katana Zero. That looked kind of cool." And I never played it, and I bought it and I played it, and it's pretty cool.
It's pretty flashy. I like it.
It's pretty cool.
just never got around to
My
playing it.
winner for the Asterisk Award, I'm giving to Deep Rock Galactic.
Yeah.
Because that's the game that me and my D&D friends started playing after Back for Blood, and I was like, "Isn't this way better?" And they were all like, "Yes, this is amazing. It's so great. Rock and Stone." And like now we're
Rock
just
and Stone.
drunk and dancing all the time. It's so good. It's so good. I love that game. That game is absolutely worth way more money than I paid for it. Like the exact
I think that game is quite a bit of fun. It was, I think, maybe one of the most fun games I think we've played together collectively on the feed as like on like a multiplayer night. I really enjoyed it.
legitimately delightful.
And charming. And Chris Davis.
Okay. My runner-up for the Asterisk Award is in consideration of the fact that one of the awards we don't have this year, and one that we're probably going to eventually have to start doing, is Best Remake or Remaster.
Okay.
I mean,
in which
that's part of Asterisk.
Well, yeah, whatever. But my runner-up is the Mass Effect Legendary Edition. I played through the Legendary Edition, did my first FemShip run. Never done that before. Really enjoyed revisiting those 3 games. 90, probably 100 hours of content. Just leaves me excited for what the franchise could be if BioWare's still a thing in 5 years. And my winner is going to go to me doing my video game homework by playing through Super Metroid.
Nice.
I have in the span of 2 months, I played Castlevania Symphony of the Night and Super Metroid, and now I know everything I need to know about that genre. So I don't need to play another one ever again.
Is that what you took from that? Okay, interesting. All right, Ed, what's your runner-up?
Runner-up for me is Demon Souls. I played the remake right at the beginning of this year, as I mentioned.
Such a good remake.
Embarrassingly. And yeah, it's quite good. I look forward to this year being the year that I play Dark Souls for the first time.
Oh, wow.
What?
Wow.
As well as playing Elden Ring. Both of
Hell
those
yeah.
are. I'm
Hell
super.
yeah.
Man, oh my God, guys, we're
It's
just
gonna
over
be a
just
year.
under a month.
You gotta hurry up.
My winner goes to Hollow Knight Steel Soul Racing. Me and 2 of my friends, we all started Steel Soul at the same time, and we had a race to see who would basically die last. I lost immediately. I lost to the Headbangers, but to my friend, it just like spawned this need for me to play Steel Soul through the completion, 100%, and I did it. I beat Hollow Knight and got to the end of that game with the Steel Soul run, and I was capturing some footage recently in Hollow Knight, and I started up the Steel Soul to capture it, and I started to like go around, and I started to die, and I was like, nope, need to quit, can't do this. So
you can feel the pull.
The pull, yeah, for sure.
Speaking of nights, Yacht Club Games is supposed to have a big announcement next week.
Oh, cool.
Ooh. That's next week, Chris Davis. We're almost done with this podcast. Let's go. We only have 2 more awards to go. Our last award, our second to last award.
Can I do a quick honorable mention?
Yes. Honorable mention. Sorry,
super
it's getting
quick.
late. I'm getting
So quick.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Stardew Valley released a pretty big update this year. The 1.5 update. They added new post-game content. And actually, if Steam is not lying to me, and I know this because I gifted Bernadette a copy of the game, and according to Steam, she's played 112 hours, and since we played it like basically all together, apparently in the past since mid-December, so like a month and a half. We've played like over 100 hours of Stardew Valley in
Real
our
quick,
co-op farm.
If he's doing one, I'm gonna say Kid Amnesia. Kid Amnesia. I don't know how to say it. The Radiohead like art exhibit that you can download for
Oh,
free
yeah.
on the Epic Game Store and your PS5. It's really cool. One of the most visually interesting things, and of course has the best music of the year because Kid A is one of the best albums ever. You should download it. It's really cool, really trippy.
Oh,
Like
Brad
Nick, I
likes
think you like it.
Radiohead. I didn't know he was cool. Jeez.
Yeah, I'm
Uh,
cool and
Yeah.
almost 40.
As far as honorable mentions go for Asterisk Award, the Revival Club was going all year. Played a lot of stuff that I've never played before. I played Castlevania Symphony of the Night for the first time. Stalker Call of Pripyat was my introduction to the Stalker franchise. Played Psychonauts for the first time. Dark
Jeez, where did
Messiah,
those
Might
win?
and Magic. Cold Fear, that was a cool game too, unexpectedly. Man, played a lot of cool stuff this year that would have qualified for this award.
All right, my biggest regret.
Biggest regret.
My
Movies
biggest
right
regret
along.
of the year, or my runner-up for the biggest regret of the year, is Returnal. I actually, really like Housemarque, and I've played a fair number of their games. And honestly, this is a game I wish I didn't put down. I sent it back to GameFly, so I didn't have it on hand. It was very hard, and it required lots of focus for long periods of time, and it's not something I can really do in this household. I wish this game was not as hard and painful and long as it is because I know a lot about it and I've seen a lot of it, and it does seem really, really cool. My winner for biggest regret, is I wish I could have mentioned it early on because Ed started talking about it. It's Outer Wilds Echoes of the Eye. It's another game that requires a lot of like sit down time, mental capacity in front of my PC. And I can't do that in this household. I didn't really have the environment to sit down and play an Outer Wilds game, not anymore. And I really, really wanted to play it because Outer Wilds was my game of the year that year. And I got a little scared off of this one too, especially because I heard a lot of people were getting really frustrated with a really challenging like stealth aspect, and it was really turning people off. And it just sort of got into my head like I own it. I bought it, but like I can't do this. I don't have the time. I don't have the environment. Don't do it. Wait till you have a good chance to do it. And it kind of passed me by. So it's one I would have loved to have played, but I didn't. Not yet, at least. So my biggest regret.
If for a person like me who has not played the Outer Wilds, is Echo of the Eye best experienced in the main game, or should it be considered like standalone content to experience?
I would play through the main game and then play through the Echoes of the Eye stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's the only way to go, to be honest. And that I'm even saying that as someone who hasn't played Echoes of the Eye. Like, just like I don't.
Someone who's just talking out of their ass, Nick.
So just talking out of my ass, but like Outer Wilds. I mean, this builds off of the stuff from the main campaign, right? From the main game.
It's supplemental, I would say.
Yeah.
Its own thing, but it relates.
Like side story-ish to the main campaign, but it's very much inherent to the main campaign at the same time.
Gotcha.
That doesn't make any sense at all.
Well, okay. My runner-up for biggest regret is going to be Tales of Arise. I gave this series an honest shake. I played it for 25 hours, and my biggest regret is that I let it go that long before I decided to put it down. I was in like there's certain things I enjoy about
His
it.
biggest regret was that he didn't stop playing it sooner.
He's right though. Because if he wasn't really loving it where he was at, it went downhill big time.
Yeah.
The things that bother me most, I mean, I don't have a history of the series, so the things that bother me the most were mostly like world design stuff was really not grabbing me. The characters and stuff I was enjoying, but again, I don't have the frame of reference you do, so I'm not really comparing it to all the characters from like Tales of Berseria and things like that. So I was enjoying that aspect of it, but the combat was getting kind of repetitive. The world it felt very linear, which it's still a weird feeling for me. Like I still think about like classic PlayStation 1 RPGs, and that's kind of my go-to in my mind for JRPGs. And like this is just like going down a hallway. I feel like it's a pretty hallway, but it's just funneling me down a path.
This is regret, not most Japanese game I hated this year.
Shut up. And my winner for biggest regret this year is letting Brad talk me out of playing Chicory.
Oh shit!
Yeah, why'd you let him bully you like that?
I know. Why am I such
It's
a
funny
bitch?
because
He was
everybody I was
like-
telling to play Chicory, everyone said I was bullying them into trying it.
Well, everything I hear about Chicory is positive, and everything you said about it tonight makes me want to play it. So I might
It's
try and
great.
rectify that.
It's
I
fucking great.
I mean, I've been looking for something exciting to play on my Switch right now, and maybe Chicory is it. Maybe I should just stop resisting and play Chicory. But yeah, that's my regret. Nolan, what's yours?
All right, my runner-up for biggest regret is Lost Judgment. I never finished Judgment. I played a decent amount of it, but I never got around to finishing it. And my plan was, oh well, I'm going to finish Judgment, and then Lost Judgment's going to come out, and I'll play that. And I just never finished Judgment, and that's why I have yet to pick up Lost Judgment. But everything I've heard about it, especially with fucking Brad, all his tweets recently, and the game looks so fucking good. And I really want to play it.
Mini game is so good in that game,
dude. Brad, I follow you on Twitter. I've been seeing your shit, and yes, the game looks good, and that's why I regret not playing it. But my winner for biggest regret this year was I Expect You to Die 2. I really loved that first game, and my VR has not been getting the love it's deserved the past, honestly, almost a year. There's been a couple of times where I busted it out and played a few games this past year. But I Expect You to Die 2 was one that I really was looking forward to and just never got around to picking up. The first one was so good, and I'm sure the second one is too. I've seen good things about it. I will eventually get around to it, but yeah.
I bought
All
it.
right.
But surprise, surprise, doing VR in this household is tough.
I can imagine. Yeah.
Crispy.
Okay, my runner-up for biggest regret of this year was not being more involved with the category selection process for the award show this year. I should have paid attention. I should have told them we have way too many categories. This is insane. My
categories were picked when it was 4 people technically.
I know. Like we were talking about this like in November, and I'm like, that's forever away. I don't need to worry about this. And here we are, reaping what I've sown. Oh fuck, this sucks. My biggest regret this year is that I only played 11 new games. That's
You
like,
probably just forgot about a couple.
So like I have a top 10 list that's like there's like at least half of them are just like, yeah, I guess that was all right. Like, I mean, some real bangers on there. I played some great games this year, but
some real bangers.
New games were I lost a lot of time to Final Fantasy, you guys. I lost a lot of time.
I'm told that it's not a lifestyle game and that there's plenty of healthy Final Fantasy 14 players.
I lost a lot of time, okay? I'm sorry. That's all I have to say.
Okay, Chris Davis.
When I was thinking about this award, I misinterpreted what we were really going for. So I'm going to stick with what I got because it's
you misinterpreted biggest regret.
How do you fuck up regret?
When I think of biggest regret, I think it's like an extension of biggest disappointment, but it's not a bad game. So
Okay.
my regret is the amount of time I put into it. And my runner-up is Crusader Kings 3. It is not a bad game. It is absolutely not. But I put 8 hours trying to really experience and understand and know how to play this game. And
That qualifies. You spent more time than you wanted playing a game that you ended up not sticking with. That's how I approached it with Tales of Arise.
It's not only a 2020 game, but it got stellar reviews. I mean,
no, it is. I understand. It's a for the audience it serves. It's an excellent game, but I am not in that audience it serves, and I came to learn that, and it took me 8 hours to figure that out. So it hurt. But on the flip side of that, my winner for biggest regret is how much time I put into Aliens Fireteam Elite.
That's a lot of hours. Yeah.
I probably put in like 50, close to 60 hours.
I tapped out around 5 or 6.
I like Aliens Fireteam Elite. It has not received the support, and its progression system does not warrant the amount of time I put into it. When the game is at its best, that's what I want to play. just the first level and like that last campaign are where the game shines, especially like that last area. It just really makes you go, wow, this is where I wish the game was up to the standard of quality. But the way it's structured, and the lack of a strong progression system, and the almost non-existent map-based content that the game desperately needs, it's just not there. So
yeah,
I regret losing 30 hours of my life out of the 60 or 70 I played.
Ed.
That's fair. Your turn, Ed.
Runner up, Monster Hunter Rise. I only got to Hunter rank like 4 or something like that. In that game. So don't worry, it's still there. I will return to it. I am certain. I had to make some really tough choices towards the end of the year about what to play, and it was either Monster Hunter Rise forever or play Unsighted, Chicory, and Inscription. So and Forgotten City. So I got 4 in for the price of 1. Yeah,
You made the right choice. Fuck you.
And my winner for this is Shin Megami Tensei 5. I started it. I got through the first like hour or two, and I was like, this is a game for me, and I will continue to play this. And then, like I said, made some hard choices at the end of the year. So it's still in my Switch. It's actually the game that's in my Switch. So I will continue it once I finish my stupid game, the games of all time video.
Cool.
Fantastic. All right.
Honorable mention Deathloop.
Honorable mention for me is going to be Guardians of the Galaxy, because holy fuck, y'all talked about it so much.
Speaking of which,
it was not on my list before this tonight started, but it definitely is now.
Fantastic. Good. All right, we've reached the end. Final category is our number 11 award. This is the game that just barely missed our top 10. It's a great way to cap off the show. We don't have to go into great detail about it, but it's a nice teaser leading into our list for those of us who are doing a video. So, Brad,
also,
which two games barely missed your list?
I just want to say it's a really tough year. Even number 11 is a game I really, really enjoyed. Just want y'all to know that.
What is Nolan freaking out about?
I asked before we went live if we were doing a number 11 and a number 12, and I said I was told that's silly. We're doing a number 11.
It's not silly. It's not silly. My runner-up is Guardians of the Galaxy. My runner-up for number 11 is Guardians of the Galaxy. It's a game I enjoy a lot, but like Nick said, it's not all-encompassing. You know, the gameplay is just kind of whatever, but it doesn't matter. These are games I love. I talked about why I loved it, and the characters and the writing, the best acting of the year. It's great. It's my runner-up for my number 11. But my number 11 game of the year is The Forgotten City. I feel bad about not putting this one on my top 10, but it's a tough year. It really is. If this was in any Bethesda game, this would be the quest line that everyone would be talking about, right? This is like the best Elder Scrolls quest ever, the best Fallout quest ever, right? It's so good, question. Right?
Yeah.
So,
all right.
I like both these games a lot.
My runner-up, which would be my number 12, Super Mario 3D World Bowser's Fury. I really tried to fit this on my list, but I just couldn't quite justify it. But
can I jump in and say that's my number 11?
There we go.
It's my number 13.
Why do you know your number 13?
He knows all of them. But yeah, man, it just makes me excited for the future of Mario. I can't help but feel like this is going to be a taste of what is to come with the next original Mario game. So that's exciting. Mm-hmm. And the game that just barely missed my top 10, Inscription. I know.
Wow. This is why I don't want you to play Chicory.
Wow. Wait, you number 11 Inscription?
I number 11 Inscription. And the funny thing is, I know when y'all see my actual list, you're going to be like, what? That's what kicked off? But I have to go with the way the game makes me feel.
Who hurt you, Nick?
Inscription hurt me. Inscription hurt
me. Far Cry bumped off Inscription.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Far Cry is also not on my top 10 list.
Oh, shut up! You played 10 other games that you like more than Far Cry?
Clearly, you played 11 at least, 12 even.
Yeah. Although I'll be honest, Far Cry might be my number 13. But I don't know. Yeah, I really wrestled with this a lot, and honestly, the Inscription was on my list until it got bumped.
Oh.
Did it get bumped by what was that game? Unsightful? What is that one?
Unsighted. It may have been bumped by Unsighted. We'll see.
But that's not the bad part. Unsighted is cool. The problem is, he's gonna have like Life is Strange at number 10, and it's like,
no, I'm not. You keep assuming you know my list, and you clearly don't know my list.
Okay. It's one of your honorable mentions to your number 11.
Like I said, my number 11 was Mario 3D World Bowser's Fury, but my number 12, so my runner-up, is Death's Door. Really good game, but just not quite top 10 material for me, at least, compared to the other games I played this year. But I will note, just kind of adding on to what Nick said earlier about Bowser's Fury, not saying it's not a game, it definitely is a game, but I just do feel like it is a very good teaser of what I want future Mario to become.
Proof of concept, if you will.
Yeah, and it is definitely more than a proof of concept. It is definitely like a ground zeros to the next Mario game. It is the kind of like intro to what I really hope the next Mario game becomes.
Yeah.
Man.
Okay.
Crispy.
Crispy. I don't have a runner-up because I only played 11 games.
Wait, well, what's your 11th game?
So it might as well be fucking, I don't know, like
Endwalker, right?
Yeah, Final Fantasy Endwalker, except that's definitely on my list. So now it's on there twice. So my number 11 and my number 2 are
Shadowbringers. Shadowbringers are good.
If you had to pick one, what would it be?
What do you mean if I had to pick one? I only have 11 of them. What are you talking about?
What's the worst one of the list?
The 11. Oh, yeah, number 11. The 11th best game I played this year was Back 4 Blood, and that game fucking blows, okay?
Oh, wow.
So
it's an honor to be nominated.
That's where I'm at.
Oh,
okay.
Man. Thank you, Crispy.
That's it. That's all I got. Wow. I'm done.
Well, you think of Back 4 Blood at the same level that Nick thinks about Inscription.
We're almost there.
Fucking Wordle, does that count?
Yes, dude. Dude, I should put Wordle on my tongue.
That's 11. 12 is Back 4 Blood. Okay, actually, Wordle might be like on the top 10.
I think Giant Bomb has a category for Letter of the Year.
Chris Davis, what's your?
Have y'all played Swordle? It's like Wordle, but with swear words.
I showed Wordle. I showed Wordle to my dad the other day, and like it was driving him fucking crazy. It was so funny. The word was like favor or something, and he just couldn't figure it out. It was great. It was so good.
I was about to say spoilers, but I guess if it's a past date, it doesn't matter now.
Yeah, it was like 2 weeks ago.
Chris Davis, what's your number 12?
My number 12, I'm going to get shit for this. I'm going to say it anyway. Is
I said
Chernobylite
already, bitch. It's what?
Chernobylite.
Why are you going to get shit for that?
Why would you get shit
because it's from the Farm 51, the developers of
Get Even.
Get Even.
So you've betrayed them, is what you're saying.
No, I'm saying that. Oh, once again, Chris Davis is on his fucking spiel about this fucking company.
It's not just the company; it's that everything you love comes from Eastern Europe.
Yeah,
Guys,
Chernobylite.
I think question mark in chat. I think went to sleep and then woke up before we finished.
Dude, we've been going for at least 5.5 hours, so I can definitely believe it.
But hey,
we're almost done. Keep going. Keep going.
Chernobylite. Nick, you played it. I don't have the energy anymore to really explain it, other than that there's some cool things the game does. It has this fucking strange ass yet interesting narrative to it. It's really hard to describe, but it
is a hard game to describe, but it was pretty cool from what I played so far.
Yeah. And my number 11 is Aliens Fireteam Elite. Again, that is a very much when it wants to be a good game, but it's mired in being relatively mediocre. But again, those highs are like really high.
You know, I'm going to say, at least unlike Nick, Chris Davis's number 11 and 12 aren't great games.
Hey.
Fuck off.
You like the final boss of
Alright, I'm going to bring us home. My number 12 runner-up for number 11 award goes to Bravely Default 2. It did not do what I wanted it to, but it did good enough to make it to number 12. So good job, Bravely Default 2. And my number 11, I'm so sorry, Brad, is Chicory.
Wow.
It's because I know this game is good. It's not my kind of good, unfortunately.
Wow.
He's gonna
loved
log
it.
off right now.
I loved it, but there were 10 games.
This is why Nick shouldn't play.
Ed hates art. Ed hates art.
What can I say? It doesn't do it for me. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
I appreciate your honesty. So the games that barely missed our top 10s, The Forgotten City.
Wait, hold on. I have 8
God.
ranked honorable mentions.
No, shut the fuck
no.
up.
Shut up, Brad.
The Forgotten City, Inscription, Mario 3D World, Bowser's Fury, Wordle. Is Wordle really going on here?
Yes.
No,
Yes.
Wordle
Aliens,
is not mine. Wordle is on my top 10 list.
Oh, okay. So Back for Blood.
Mine is Back for Blood.
Well, then what is 12?
Aliens,
I don't
Aliens
have a.
Team Elite, you motherfuckers.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And Chicory. So there we go, guys. We fucking made it. We fucking made it to the end of this award show. We love you and we appreciate you. You stuck with us to the end.
Why did you listen to this?
I just can't believe Ed stabbed me in the back right at the end of our long ass night.
Did you find the differences between
20 games, Brad?
Did you find the differences between our biggest disappointments and our biggest regrets insightful?
My God, you guys are fucking killing
We're
me.
calling this list next
all right.
year.
I'm going to go ahead and close this out so we can all go to bed. But guys, thank you so much for listening. If you're listening at home in the audio, we appreciate you sticking with us. If everyone watching live, oh my God, thank you for hanging out. We've had a consistent around 70 people watching while we were doing this for most of the time, maybe more at times. So that's, hey man, I appreciate it. It's great. You know, it may not be the 2008 numbers we had, but I'll take it. So we appreciate everyone who hung out with us and stuck it out while we went over all these categories. Of course, I want to remind everybody, 4playernetwork.com is the website. You can catch us in Discord at discord.gg/4player. Some of us here are going to be putting together top 10 videos. I'm not sure how many we'll have, but we're going to get those out soon. So look for those.
Some of us here are releasing a top 30 games of all time video to be released next week, maybe.
Ed is doing his top 30 games of all time, which is bananas. Absolutely bananas. So look out for that. And of course, guys, we're going to close out with my soundtrack of the year. So, you know, honestly, my soundtrack of the year is Death's Door, but Nolan took it from me. So my second choice for soundtrack of the year was Subnautica Below Zero. This is Ben Prunty? Is that his name?
Ben Prunty?
Soundtrack.
I don't think he did. Did he do all of it? I know he did. I know he did a lot of it. Okay,
he did all of it.
I think he did all. I think he did all of it.
Composer.
Yeah. That's right. You're right. Sorry, not shitting on Ben Prunty. I love him. I follow him on Twitter. Like I have so many of his soundtracks. I just couldn't remember. But okay.
He fucking knocked it out of the park. That game has such a cool, unique, chill atmosphere. And he was a perfect pick and a perfect fit for that game. So the track I picked was called Machine. What is it? Oh my God.
Machine Gun Kelly.
Mirage Machine.
Mirage Machine. Thank you. I forgot. It's getting late. So we're gonna close out with that. I also, real quick before we close out, I picked the raffle winners. I'm gonna email you guys if I picked your name. These are the people who submitted their top 10 games of all time, or top 10 games of the year, plus their nominees for our awards and whatnot. We got Henry. I don't know your first name. I'm going on based on your email. Your name is Henry. Thank you for submitting your top 10 games. And Piosht. Y'all both are going to get a free game of your choosing, so I'll reach out. Thank you guys so much for sharing.
Brad,
your
why
choices.
did you rig it?
What?
How dare you use your son to email in 10 games?
Oh, gosh, Henry. Yes,
That's
I see what you did there. So, Piosht, you won, and Henry, if you're in chat, I'm not sure if you're in chat, you won as well. I'm going to be reaching out to you guys via email so you can pick your game, and we'll send you a copy. So thank you so much for participating, and thank you to everybody who helped us put together our community top 10 list, which we'll be releasing in February alongside our own personal top 10 lists as well. So, is that Corn 122? Is that Henry? I'm not sure.
Oh my God, Nick, end this.
I'm so sorry. It's getting late.
Put us out of our misery.
Bye, everybody. Love you.
Bye.
Enjoy my soundtrack.
Bye.